Hello stock gurus and welcome to another episode. Today is the 8th of April. We're going to be looking at Apple. We're going to go into my Twitter to look at the news for Apple, anything that's going to affect the stock. Then we're going to go into the technicals for Apple for the next few months, weeks and days and try and predict the movement of Apple for the next few months, even years, months, weeks. And for today's trading day, the 8th of April, I've got exact targets, 3 yellow tags with my exact targets for Apple and major supports if Apple does decide to come down. Watch through to the end to see my technicals and to see the exact targets for today's trading day. You can also follow along in the YouTube membership section. The join button is below on your phone next to the subscribe button, and you can follow all my live trades. YouTube will alert you every time I make a trade in my portfolio. The YouTube membership section, you click the join button and then you'll be alerted every time I make a trade in my portfolio. I'll put the limit price, the targets for my trade, the reasons for my trade, and my stop loss. So you see every trade I make in my portfolio. The YouTube membership is $99 a month, and then you're alerted to any of my live trades through YouTube. The reason I charge $99 a month is this information is quite valuable. Every one of my live trades, I try to target very specifically. I'm buying companies for 5 to 10 years, but I'm buying them at very specific technical entry points. So I'm going to profit as soon as I make the trade. That's my goal with the live trade, the YouTube membership, to buy stocks for the long term, but buying them at very specific points on the technical so I profit straight away in my trades. So you can see the YouTube membership section. The join button is down below on your phone. Click it to join and then you'll see all my live trades in the market. So let's jump into the technical news analysis for Apple now. So now I'm jumping into first Twitter. We're going to look at Twitter. We're going to see if there's any major news for Apple. Then we're going to go into the technical analysis and try and predict the movements of the price of Apple for the next few months, weeks, days. Today's trading day, the 8th of April. And then we're going to go into my broker, Charles Schwab, and look at the financials of Apple. So here on Twitter, you can follow me, Stock Guru. My name is James. Make sure it matches. Bitcoin stocks, inflation. Because they're printing so much money, I'm very bullish stocks and Bitcoin. They printed $6 trillion in the last year. It's quite amazing. I have 1,400 students plus now taking the Stock Guru Master Course. You can find the link here, www.stockguru.us. We also have a members chat room. You can see the links in the description and the pinned comment. Here you can just see hundreds of reviews from my students about the course. This is things I'm sharing. Twitter is looking very bullish. ARK buying a lot of Palantir. Just information I share on Twitter. Coinbase is going to IPO. I'm going to make a video before the IPO on April 14th. This was in our Stock Guru chat room. Rosie is taking her daughter Alexa to Las Vegas and just on travels, but Alexa is actually investing. She's 6 years old, but Rosie has her daughter investing young, and that's really important. I really recommend get your kids taking the Stock Guru Master Course, link in description and pin comment. Get them investing early. That way, instead of buying drugs, alcohol, wasting their time and money on friends and partying, they're going to start investing early. And they're going to have a mindset, instead of buying Nike shoes, they're going to buy Nike the company. And this is a very powerful mindset to have, especially at a young age, because then you have time in the market, which is very powerful. Uber is looking very bullish. I've been buying a lot of Uber. There is some quite big news on Uber, but what we use Twitter for is we can use it to research stocks. So we can type in $Apple. You can also follow Tim Cook. You can follow Elon Musk. You can follow a lot of the CEOs of companies, and follow me, Stock Guru, type in there. And then that way you can find information about companies before even the news agencies do. Google weekly setting up beautifully. If you've been following my videos on Google, I've rated a buy about a month ago and it's made huge gains already. Google is one of my favorites. Apple, we're trying to find any major news that's going to be affecting Apple for the next week, next days. So we're just looking any major news, and the news is sorted by the top news. So we can really find a lot of information about Apple. Doesn't look like anything major coming up for Apple recently. No major news that looks like it's going to affect the stock. Which is interesting. I'm trying to find anything major that's going to affect the stock price of Apple. Buy good companies, hold them for a long time. Thanks for coming to our TED Talk. Yes, I agree. That's exactly my mindset, and that's what I teach in the Stock Guru Master Course. You're buying companies for 5 to 10 years that you really believe in. Apple will use Tesla's Megapack batteries at its California solar farm. So no major news about Tim Cook on the latest episode of Swag this morning. Sway. No major news for Apple, which is interesting. So let's go into the technicals and do some price predictions on Apple. So now we're in tradingview.com. Ethereum and Dogecoin up 3%, Dogecoin and Ethereum up 2.8%, Bitcoin up 1.8%. But today we're going to be looking at Apple. Yesterday it went up 1.3%, which is beautiful. First thing we do is we go to the all-time frame of Apple and we look at the entire history of this stock. And you're looking at the entire price of Apple over time. It IPO'd Apple back in 1981 was the IPO of Apple at 10 cents. Now Apple is sitting at $128. So it's quite a huge gain, actually. 10 cents. So a 10 times increase would be $1. a 100 times increase would be $10, 1,000 time increase would be $100. So it's had a 1,200x since its IPO, meaning if you put $1,000 back then, you have 1.2 million. If you put, it's just huge gains for Apple over time. That's why buying amazing companies for the long term is quite amazing. So overall trend of Apple massively trending up, huge volume coming into Apple, higher than ever before, which is very bullish. There are actually not really. In 2008, it did have higher volume. It did spike up in volume in 2008. Here's the volume over time. If you were to sell me, what is volume? If you sell me your Apple shares, I was to buy them from you. That's a trade. Trading is volume. The more trading, the more interested people are, the more volume there is. So huge volume in 1990s. In 2008, huge volume. Then volume dropped down. And recently, in 2017, 16, we had a lot of drop of volume. But recently, we've had some spikes up in volume. So Apple is getting interesting again. We had an MA cross here and head up back in 2019, and it's just been consistently heading up since then. Stochastic and RSI very overbought on the monthly candlesticks. And as I teach in the Stockroom Mastercourse, this is very important. Everything you're watching in these videos, you can learn, but you really need to take the course to truly understand everything that I'm talking about and really not make mistakes. So whenever the stochastic and the RSI are above or close to the top of the dotted lines, you want a dollar cost average and you want to split your capital up. You don't want to put a lot of capital in one go. Again, whenever on the monthly candles, each of these candles represent 1 month, price of Apple 128. Whenever they're above the dotted lines, you don't want to put a lot of capital in one go. It's much better for you to be buying down here below the dotted lines. That's the best time to be buying. Above the dotted lines is a good time to be selling. But right, so Apple here was a great time to buy before it did this big run up now. But most of the time in the last, since 2020, since they started printing so much money, Apple has been in the overbought territory nearly the entire time. Apple is following this recent trend line in 2021 and it's moving up on this trend line. It's kind of making a kind of ascending wedge also that I'm seeing. The base of the wedge being that target. So the long-term targets and around October 1st, targets are 165 for Apple, the upper end of this channel. Let's zoom in closer. We click here, 1 year time frame. So now before each of these candles were 1 month, now each candle is 1 day. So we've zoomed into Apple. Now we're trying to predict the price movement of Apple for April, May of this year, June, what's going to be happening to the price of Apple. So we have squeeze mob here building pressure to the green side. We have stochastic and RSI, great buying opportunity here in the beginning of April, but still open. Stochastic and RSI open. RSI not yet above the dotted lines, still open, heading up quite strongly. So bullish, squeeze mob building pressure to the green side. MA cross open here and heading up. Volume also coming in. All indications of a buy for Apple. Am I seeing any major pattern? It does look like it's kind of a bull flag here. We've got this kind of channel and we've got this flag that's building here. It's a bullish flag with so it's usually a bullish pattern that we see here. Bull flags are kind of, they look like this, and then you have a big movement up. So that's a bull flag. And that's kind of what's happening for Apple. We've got this kind of channel that it was moving in. Then we've got this flag that's kind of forming a symmetric descending wedge. So explosive movement to the upside. Stochastic RSI heading up, volume coming in, all looks MA cross open, squeeze mob green, all looks bullish for Apple going into May, June for Apple with this MA cross especially. MA cross is very accurate on some of the technicals. So the targets for Apple, it already hit the first target, 127. My yellow tags are the target. So it already hit that target from before, which is beautiful. Now we turned it into a support. And it becomes, after it breaks a target, that target then becomes a support. So red tags are supports, yellow tags are our future targets. So the resistance is here. That's one resistance as Apple comes up, and it's got another resistance at 132. So I'm still looking quite bullish for Apple. Stochastic, RSI, everything going up, volume. So targets are 132 for Apple, 137. Then more than likely, it looks like it's kind of making a ascending wedge here. I'll draw in this wedge just so you can see it more clearly. It seems to be making an ascending wedge. I make that blue line. So that's kind of a wedge that Apple is kind of moving in. And the base of the wedge is our targets when it breaks out. So we'll put in that target. And I think I already drew this in before, but let's put it again. So that's our target when Apple tries to break out. And we turn that to a yellow target line. But that's already existing, but let's remove it and move this target line across. So that's the target for Apple around the 17th of November. The target is 171. So we'll put in that longer time target for Apple, which is beautiful, and turn it into a yellow tag line. So yellow tags are our targets. So to me, it looks like Apple is doing this. Squeeze mob, stochastic, volume coming in all bullish. Target 132, 137, hitting 137, bouncing down, coming back 127, bouncing up 137, bouncing down 128. This is what it looks like Apple is doing to me. And then going into October, it has a breakout towards the 171, October and November. That is one possible scenario for Apple, and quite likely. It's quite a few times found resistance here at the 137. And that is its all-time high also. So as it comes up again, but it does look very bullish to me, this pattern. It's very bullish. Look, it's like a kind of very spiking up kind of trajectory. The trend is your friend, volume, a lot of volume. It's very bullish looking patterns. But that looks like what it's going to do. So what could also happen is as we come up, the first target 1, 132, target 2, 137. These are targets that are already confirmed, I think. A break of 100 and the break of this kind of here, if it comes down and breaks this 121, then that would look a bit, that would be negative for Aapl. We don't want it to come down and break 121. Then 115 is a play, and then even 106 is in play. But as long as it stays above this blue trend line that it's been climbing, it's going to build pressure and explode to the upside, or even possibly break out early. Stochastic RSI volume coming in, squeeze mob going up 132, 137. Then when it gets there around end of April, I'll do updated videos, because then we have to see whether at this point it just breaks out to the upside going to 150, 159, and this longer term upper target of 171, which we need to determine as it gets to 137, the second target. Target 2 is 137, target 1 is 132. It looks like it'll hit that in April, 132, 137. Then we need to check this, hit the subscribe button, the bell, the thumbs up to see what happens next. Does it get rejected off here, come back down to 127, bounce back 132, and play out a pattern like this? And this is a very possible scenario. It's either going to do two scenarios. One, play out like this and break out to the upside going to October, or we follow this trend and this channel and it keeps bouncing up like that and breaks up to 171. So target 1, 132, 137, and then we need to make an updated video here to see if it gets rejected off here, comes in this triangle, heads up, or if it breaks out early and keeps going to this upper channel that it's in, which will be beautiful. So that's what's happening for the next few months for Aapl. Let's zoom in one more time. We click down here and we're going to see what's going to happen to Aapl for the next few, for today's trading day, the 8th of April, today's trading day. What is going to happen to the price of Aapl, which will be beautiful the next few hours as the market opens, going into pre-market. One, I see a W forming on Aapl. Straight away, I kind of see a W pattern. Everyone see that W pattern? So breakup potential is very strong. We have this MA cross that opened here at 120 and just headed up, and it's still open. It has not yet closed. We have the stochastic and the RSI very overbought right now. So all my Stock Guru Mastercourse students know, if you're not one, join us. There's more than 1,400 students taking the course. The link is in the description in the pinned comment. Above the dotted lines, this company is overvalued. Below the dotted lines, undervalued. It's overvalued, Aapl, but it's been like that all of April, and it's still pushing up further. The RSI is still pushing up further. Volume coming in, MA cross open. It's looking like it's finding resistance here, but it's still looking bullish. But with the the RSI and stochastic above the dotted lines, you really want to DCA. Don't put a lot of capital here at any one go. So we kind of have a W formation playing out here. So targets are 132 and 137. Stochastic RSI, squeeze mob volume, they're overbought. Squeeze mob is also coming down out of the green. Stochastic RSI overbought. Volume is slightly dropping. So these kind of bearish patterns. So we have two scenarios, and I think this is mainly what I think is going to happen. I'll put a support there, 124. I think Aapl, based off this, what it looks like to me, it looks like Aapl is trying to get rejected off here at the 127. So what could happen is it comes back down, comes back to 124 and forms a cup and handle formation, which can move out to the upside. The base of the cup is the target. That's one possible scenario for Aapl. So let's draw that potential scenario. And when we're on the hourly, the daily candles is much more accurate. When we go into the hourly candles like this, when we're looking at the trading day, the 8th of April, it becomes much more volatile because it's very affected by news. If any major news comes out for Aapl, or COVID or some kind of thing, it's very affected by news. So keep that in mind. You want to go mainly off the daily candles. So that breakout of the cup and handle also lines up with this 132 target. So that's a possible scenario for Aapl, that it comes back down, bounces off 124, and then heads up 128, 132 as the going to April 12th. That's one scenario for Aapl. The second scenario for Aapl, and this is going to be determined on the open, is if the stochastic and the RSI keep going up and volume comes in and squeeze mob goes more green and this MA cross doesn't close, then we have target 132 for Aapl. The next target 132 and then 137, and this will play out this W formation going into 132 and 137 going to April 12th and further on into April for today's trading day. So we're really monitoring this, stochastic and RSI. If the pre-market opens and they head down, if it opens and heads down, then we're going to come down, bounce off 124, and this could form this cup and handle formation with the breakout potential of 132, and that's a big likely scenario. However, in pre-market opens and stochastic and RSI keep heading up and volume comes in, then we just keep going up to 132 as the next target. It's very important. If the stochastic and RSI open in pre-market and start heading down, then we fall down to 124 and we want to get a bounce off there, confirming this cup and handle for this big movement up to 132. If the pre-market opens and stochastic on the 8th of April today and RSI keep heading up and squeeze mob goes green and volume comes in, then we just go straight up to 132. So you're really monitoring on the open this stochastic and the RSI. More than likely, to me, it looks like it's going to get rejected off here, come down to 124, bounce, and then head up to 132 and 137 going into April. So I hope you like this quick news and technical analysis for Aapl. If you'd like to see my live trades, I have a YouTube membership section. You can see the join button there. In the YouTube membership section, you'll see all my live trades that I make in the stock market. I put my limit order, my targets for my trade, my reasons for my trade, and my stop loss. And I'm usually buying 1 to 3 companies per day, and I'm targeting very specific technical entries. I'm buying companies for 5 to 10 years, but I'm buying them at the bottom of the hill, specific technical entries to profit as soon as I make my trade. You can see the YouTube membership, you'll be alerted of all my trades. The join button is there on your phone. And don't forget, hit the subscribe button, the bell, the thumbs up button so you're notified of these daily videos. Thank you for watching. Check out the video I made on Tesla today. I also made a video today, my top 5 favorite books when it comes to investing money in abundance. Check out that video. It's awesome. Those books are amazing reads. This is James from Stockery. Let's make a lot of money on the 8th of April today in the stock market, and I'll see you again tomorrow.